Ice Cube, he did an interview with Drink Chumps, and he said that Warner Brothers they turned down two of his scripts to do Another Friday. What you think about him saying that?
Um, I think I saw the interview. I'm very interested in the development of it simply because it's it's part of American culture, that project, and it's part of Black culture. Um, we what happens behind closed doors in Hollywood, a lot of people would be surprised. And there's so many different variables that bring a project to life. The fact that projects even come to life are little miracles. But what I think what's happening right now, and this is just speculation. I don't know anything, but I know how things happen. So nobody expected that project to do what it did, particularly New Line and Warner Brothers. Cube did. Pooh did. Chris didn't even. If you listen to some of Chris's interviews, he was like, who gonna come see an Ice Cube movie? You know, we've seen that in interviews. So nobody believed that this thing was going to get to the fourth installment. I really believe that. So we don't know what kind of deal. We know, in fact, that the people who created this project, they're brilliant. Cube, Pooh, brilliant men. We also know that Cube is shrewd. So we don't know what the deal was past 3 projects. Cube could have been like, okay, if we get to the 4th one, I want 75% of the shares. And New Line and Warner Bros. Like, give them the shit. I mean, you got a movie with a bunch of unknown comics. But comics that didn't really realize was gonna, New Line didn't realize that I was gonna work a Meisner technique. New Line didn't realize that Faison was gonna work at a level that he was gonna bring such a nuance to this character. They didn't realize that we was gonna coach Chris into a frenzy and he was gonna come. We've never seen anything like what Chris did. They had no idea that these characters were going to come that hard and create something. And you got to remember too, you could call this project lightning in a bottle. And I'm going to get to my ultimate point, but it was in the middle of the 90s and these two filmmakers set out to do something and they stuck to task and they did it. They exposed what was really happening in South Central in the 90s, what was really happening with Black families and how much fun we were actually having and how much we actually love one another and how we give each other lessons. Every family's not separated like that. Dads aren't missing. There are dads that are giving sound advice and lessons like that. So they didn't think that the culture was gonna, that project for me was Uptown Saturday Night. It was that much fun. It was that much, when I was a kid, some of y'all don't know what Uptown Saturday Night is, but Uptown Saturday Night up until Friday was probably one of the best produced ensemble Black comedies ever. Friday eclipsed Uptown Saturday Night. So now you got to look at it as business because this is a business. Okay, the show is the show. And there's always going to be somebody to come along and do a show. But what about the business part of it? So the business part of this is look at it from New Line and Warner Brothers perspective. If Cube put in a dope ass deal for himself on installments down the line. So now there's only so many projects that's going to be made every year. There's so much room for so many projects, right? So now let's just say you can only do 5 projects a year. So you get these projects done. You want the highest margin. When you invest money into a project, your return, you want a high margin. So if Cube did this deal, you got these 2 projects, one of them's gonna return me, 25%, and one of them's gonna return me 80%. This the little cute little white girls project, and this is Friday. And they're not gonna make no money on Friday, but they're gonna make money on this one. Which project are they going to do? I mean, I think this is
Yeah, you're gonna take the one that makes money.
the one that makes money. And I honestly believe this is dollars and cents. Now, of course, we know that New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers don't believe in our culture. There's no black people hanging on the side of Warner Brothers building. So, and I don't think that it was, the material. Something else too that happens, particularly in Hollywood and every walk of life, is somebody could have fucked up the relationship. And it could have been, it ain't about the material, the actors, Chris Tucker, Day Day, whoever. We don't want to work with that motherfucker. Because that motherfucker worked on this project. We didn't like him on that project. And they not saying nothing to nobody. So that could happen. It's a number of reasons that this project, sadly, unfortunately, didn't live on.